Bridgeway is a private school for youth with learning disabilities. There were no specific CYCs at Bridgeway for any of us, but our role as a CYC was to give the students support with their schoolwork or just to talk with them and build relationships. I definitely noticed, like, as a CYCP there, you have to be very aware. Like, you have to see who needs support. You can't expect them always to ask. So just like sitting in the classroom or on recess, playing with the youth or providing them with that support is what I and the rest of us have seen show up as a CYCP in Bridgeway.
So I'm going to jump in with my experiences. So during my placement with Bridgeway, I often worked with youth right in their space. So I found myself involving myself in playground play. So whether or not they like played grounders or they were playing basketball outside, I often joined them in that. Or if they played hockey inside, and I often got feedback and like kind of like looks from the older people there being like, kind of, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to involve yourself like that. But I found that when I did involve myself like that, I saw much more connection and engagement. And so that's why I wanted to talk about the characteristic of connection and engagement, because I found it in my practicum a lot when I would actually involve myself in their space and what they actually enjoyed to do. The building connections was much easier when they knew I was someone who, I don't know, enjoyed the same things they did, or most of the teachers there didn't want to play with them. So like they were really excited to have someone who enjoyed doing that stuff. Really quickly, I also wanted to talk about professionalism competency, because this was my second practicum. And for me, professionalism came up a lot in the way I showed up. I definitely wasn't as happy as happy with my professional self as I would have liked. So that was something that came up to me and that I had to reflect on.
Thanks, Jaya. And next, I'll share my experience. So during my placement at Bridgeway, I worked with a youth who struggled with emotional regulation, and during a learning activity, they would shut down or refuse to participate. So I responded by using a strength-based approach, acknowledging their feelings and encouraging them to express what was bothering them. This helped create a safe space for the child to promote like a sense of control and trust.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump right off that actually. During my time at Bridgeway, I saw a lot of needs-based practice and a mix with needs and strengths. So what's really cool is that compared to most like public schools, these youth are given their own like ways to go and work on assignments. So there was this one youth I knew that struggled to write, and what he would do is he would draw what he talked about. Like there was one day it was about the solar system, so instead of writing about it, he would draw most of it and then like write a little bit, like identifying planets and what they are, but mainly drawing to show that he knew. And that way it was able for him, he was able to still do the assignment and get the credit without having to struggle through it and meet his need of like wanting to graduate and just wanting to get it over with, because he was so done with school. But yeah.
All right, so I'm going to jump in. I have two examples. So my first one is I worked with a youth, and we actually built a really, really good relationship. That was probably one of the best ones I've made so far. But early on, I noticed, like, when we were walking back from the chill room or when I was done working on him with an assignment, he'd often ask me for, like, a hug or to hold my hand. So I kind of asked my mentor what this was about, and she just explained that at home he was going through a difficult time with his parents. I kind of related this to attachment theory, where it discusses that when children have stressful home environment or an unsecure attachment, they can look for that attachment through caregivers, which would have been me at the time. Another incident that came up for me was the emergency lunch program. So a lot of the youth either would eat their lunch at recess and not have enough later on, or just forget their lunch overall. So these emergency lunches were definitely really important, and I related this a lot to Maslow's hierarchy and having access to food because that is a basic human need, and Bridgeway definitely was fulfilling that. So, yeah.
And then the jump in with the Praxis on Practicum site. So at Bridgeway Academy, Praxis involved applying child and youth care principles to support children emotional, social, and academic growth. This includes using CYC characteristics, strength-based approaches, attachment theory to foster safe and supportive environment by integrating theory into daily interactions. Staff help youth and children develop resilience, confidence, and essential life skills.